Are you preparing for your national or Texas real estate exam? Well, this video is for you. We are reviewing national questions at the beginning of the session, and at the end, we will do Texas session. So, those of you that are preparing for the national portion, you can attend the first part of this webinar. And those who are practicing for Texas, then you'll want to stay at the end. So I'll do about 15 questions of each unless you request for me to do more. Type your answers in the chat and I will respond if for some reason the answer is wrong. And I will guide you into how to understand why you maybe get it wrong. So this is Lillie Hendy Dominguez with YouTube Agent Prep coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. I am a Texas real estate agent or realtor. I used to practice real estate in Oregon, and I love to help others prepare for their exam, just like when I was helped when I was preparing to take mine. I took it in Oregon, and I also then took it in Texas. So welcome to my channel. So this is Wow Lillie Hendy, starting out with national questions. And this is the book that we're using today. It's a new book published October of 2024. So it's updated with questions and changes that happen due to NAR. Every year there may be new questions for Texas because Texas law changes in addition to national. The national questions apply to all 50 states. All right, so we are continuing on the national with this. So this book is by the Metling father and son and two other authors, Cusick and Hamilton, and I do have permission to use the book. All right, so we will continue with national questions. Last week, I did... No, the week before, 2 weeks ago, I did the first 15 questions on the national exam review, and it's dealing with the rights, interest, and estates ownership. And so we are going to continue that. Think of real estate rights, interest, and estates, and ownership of real estate. Okay, let me expand this. All right, so number 16. A real property interest that includes the right to possess is considered A, an estate in land, B, a leasehold estate, C, a fee simple estate, or D, a bundle of rights. So type your answer in the chat. The answer here is A. So an estate in land. So what is a real property interest? Real property, the land and all its attachments. That includes the right to possess is considered an estate in land. So you're able to use the property and according to whatever the estate is. So this is 116. Hold on, let me put my phone down. Okay, 116A. All right, next question, 17. The right to control land usage by zoning and eminent domain is an example of, so let me point out some vocabulary. Land usage, zoning, eminent domain. These are all vocabularies that you need to know in order to help you understand the questions and pass the exams. So A, public interest, B, a police interest, C, an encumbrance, or D, an estate in law. So what is the right to control land usage by zoning an eminent domain? Is it a public interest, an estate interest, a police interest, an encumbrance? So what is an encumbrance? What is public interest? What is police interest? An estate in law. These are all terms and topics that need to be understood in order to pass the exam. So the answer here is A, public interest, 117A. So public entities may own or lease real estate in which case they enjoy an estate in land. Okay. So, however, government entities also have non-possessory interest in real estate, which can act to control land use for the public good within the entity's jurisdiction. So the prime example of public interest is police power. Here they said police interest, but it would be police power. Or the right of the local or county government to zone. So zoning, we need to go to the planning department of that particular city. Another example of public interest is the right to acquire ownership through the power of eminent domain. So if the city, the county needs an area like next to, they're going to expand and they need to widen the streets. So they need to take a portion of the frontage of certain businesses, and it won't necessarily impact so much of their area. Then they have the right to take that property through eminent domain. Of course, they must have a value of current market value to offer that owner. And that owner can oppose it, appeal it. Okay, so then that would be condemnation. Or inverse, so the opposite of eminent domain. Okay, they have the right. Eminent domain can condemn the property in order to say, hey, I'm taking over this property. However, I will be paying you today's market value in order to take that piece of land or have right of way. So that was for public interest. All right, number 18. If the duration of an owner's right in an estate is not determinable, the owner has A tenancy at sufferance, B, a lease fee simple estate, C, a freehold estate, or D, a leasehold estate. So these are all different types of estates. Okay, so what are the owner's rights? Okay, the duration of an owner's rights. What is an estate? What is not determinable or determinable? So tenants at sufferance. So is the tenancy suffering? Lease fee simple estate. C, freehold estate, or D, a leasehold estate. So the answer here is C, a freehold estate. So if the duration of an owner's rights in an estate is not determinable, the owner has a freehold estate. The answer is 18C. So in a freehold estate, the duration of the owner's rights cannot be determined. That's why it says non-determinable. The rights may endure for the lifetime, for less than a lifetime, for generations beyond the owner's lifetime. By contrast, leasehold estates have expiration. It's kind of like you are leasing a property, okay? Leasing an apartment, leasing a piece of land. So there are limitations. Number 19. So I'm here trying to adjust. Okay, 19. The distinguishing feature of a leasehold estate is you're holding a lease. You're holding a lease estate. Is A, ownership of an interest by a tenant. B, temporary ownership of the full bundle of rights. What are the bundle of rights in a property? C, unlimited ownership of one right in the bundle of rights in a property. Or D, that the estate is limited by a lease term. So pay attention to the question. It says the distinguishing feature of a leasehold estate. So how is distinguished different from a freehold estate? A, B, C, or D? Type your answer in the chat. The answer here is D, that the estate is limited by a lease term. So you see leasehold estate, there are conditions. So it is leased for a certain term. And if for some reason I typed the wrong answer, please let me know, because we do make mistakes. So that the estate is limited by a lease term. Number 20. Oops. A landowner conveys a parcel of property. What is a parcel of property? With the provision that the land cannot be developed for retail purposes. What kind of purposes? Retail. So there are conditions to this land when this owner conveys it, sells it, transferred it to somebody else. The new owner immediately begins to develop a retail shopping outlet. The grantor finds out and takes the property back. What kind of estate did this landowner convey? So what is convey? What is a parcel? Okay, what is an estate? A, fee simple absolute. B, life estate with reversion. C, life estate with condition subsequent. Or D, fee simple defeasible. Type your answer in the chat. So there were conditions to this estate, right, that was transferred. The answer here is D, fee simple defeasible. So they had all the rights, however, under a certain condition that they would not develop retail purposes. Otherwise, the owner can take the property back. So if you were not familiar with simple defeasible, fee simple defeasible, life estate with condition subsequent, life estate with reversion. What is reversion? Fee simple absolute. Go back and review all those vocabulary. As prep agent Joe Juder says, I also repeat vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. It's crucial that you know your vocabulary and understand it. Oops. I'm typing incorrectly here. Okay, very good. Number 21. Gee, I was going to say a nerd. Ned, number 21. Ned grants his sister Alice an estate for as long as she lives. What kind of an estate? For as long as she lives. Her descendants, however, cannot inherit the land, the estate. Why? Because it belongs to Ned, and he's granting her use of that land in an estate for as long as she lives. What kind of estate is it? A, an estate per atrovie. B, an estate for years. C, an ordinary life estate. Or D, a legal life estate. I'm going to change my position here. There, that's much better. Type your answer in the chat. So again, vocabulary. Estate, per atrovie, estate for years, ordinary life estate, legal life estate. Always read your questions carefully when you're at the exam location or when you're preparing on your own at home. Read the question carefully. If you're not familiar with the vocabulary, go and look the vocabulary up. Oh, better make sure I type the correct answer here. 121C, an ordinary life estate. So I did what you are currently doing in order to pass my exam. Of course, it was years ago. And even when I took my Oregon exam, I failed it the first time around. So, hey, not everybody passes it on the first time around. So if that might be you, don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself a break and say, hey, it's okay. I just didn't know everything. I didn't understand all the questions. I didn't understand all the vocabulary. Go back and do it again. Number 22, homestead estates are examples of what is the homestead? A conventional life estate. B, a legal life estate. C, an estate created by an owner's agreement. Or D, a fee simple absolute. Type your answer in the chat. So what is a homestead estate? That means it is your primary residence that you occupy, that we occupy. So these are national questions. Okay, if you just came in, we're doing national questions at the time. So this is a legal life estate, letter B. Number 23. Lewis owned a boat and a house before marrying Barbara. While she was single, Barbara owned a new car. The two got married and bought a second home. As a wedding present, Barbara's father, whose father? Barbara's father bought whom? Louis, a motorcycle. Under the law of community property, what property can Lewis sell without his wife's consent or signature? Our gifts bought together. What can you own on your own versus it being community property? A, the boat and house. B, the boat, house, and motorcycle. C, the second home and the motorcycle. D, the boat and motorcycle. Again, let's go over the question. Louis owned a boat. Lewis owned a boat and a house before marrying Barbara. Okay, it was pre-owned. While she was single, Barbara owned a new car, so she had that before marriage. The two got married, bought a second home. They bought it together after marriage. As a wedding present, what kind of a wedding gift? It was a wedding gift. What did Barbara's father give Lewis? A motorcycle. So under law of community property, what is this? And this is national. Number 23 says, so what property can Lewis sell without his wife's consent? Okay, his boat, his house, and the gifted motorcycle. Those are his. So separate property consists of property owned by either spouse at the time of marriage, property acquired by either spouse through inheritance or gift during the marriage, property acquired with separate property funds, and income from separate property. That is separate property. Community property consists of all other property earned or acquired by either party during the marriage. So once you get married, you purchase property together, it's community property. A spouse owns separate property free and clear of claims by the other spouse. He or she can transfer it without the other spouse signature. In other words, they can sell that because they owned it prior to the marriage and don't have to share that with the spouse. They may have to legally sign at the title company because they are married. However, it's just for record. So upon the death of a separate property owner, the property passes to heirs by will or loss of descent. What is loss of descent? Community property cannot be transferred or encumbered without the signature of both properties. Community property owned by both purchased after marriage. Upon the death of either spouse, half of deceased community property passes to the surviving spouse and the other half passes to the descendants' heirs. Okay, so the boat, house, and motorcycle, because they were owned by Lewis. So the answer here was B, boat, house, and motorcycle. Okay, I want a motorcycle. I used to have one. Okay, number 24. Caitlin rents an apartment for 1 year. How long? 1 year. What does she do? She rents an apartment. What rights has she acquired under the leasehold? What kind of a hold does she have on that property? A lease. A, the right to exclude everyone from the premises. B, the right to encumber the fee interest. C, the right to sell the premises. Or D, the right to possess and use the premises. So go back and learn leasehold estate. What is a leasehold? So number 24 here is the right to possess and use the premises. So they hold a lease on the property and they have the right to use it without the landlord or landlady interfering with them. (124D), the right to possess and use the premises. Why? Because they don't own it. They're paying rent monthly. So that gives them a right to possess and use. Okay, we've done 10 questions at this point. I think at this point, does anyone have any questions? Actually, I'll take it to number 25, call it a even. We'll do one more question for this evening on national real estate questions, national real exam questions, real estate exam questions. Dang, can't seem to get my words in. All right, number 25. An estate from period to period, month to month, week to week, year to year, day to day, will continue as long as A, the tenant makes and landlord accepts regular rent payment. B, the term specified in the lease. C, the period is less than a year. Or D, the landlord has not sold the property. So what is an estate from period to period? And it will continue as long as. So there are conditions, right? When we rent, what do we have to do when we rent? We have to make a payment. We have to take care of the property. So the rent could be day to day, week to week, month to month, or year to year. It doesn't tell you here what it is. It just says period to period. And they will have that estate as long as A, the tenant makes and landlord accepts regular rent payments. Once a landlord accepts a rent payment, even if it's partial payment, they're not allowed to evict. They have to wait until the next month. So I'm typing the answer in the chat. Okay, so these were 11 questions. We started with number 16, national real estate exam questions that apply to every state. If you have any questions, type it up in the chat or type a comment on the YouTube channel, and I will answer the questions and give you my comments or experience. I've been in real estate as an investor and as a realtor since 2003, and I've done real estate in 3 different markets. Oregon, Southern Oregon, then South Texas, and then now in San Antonio. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we are going to review some Texas state questions. All right, and so I am setting up to go do that. Okay, I'll share the screen. I'm going to type now. So we're doing Texas Real Estate Commission questions for the state of Texas. So Texas Real Estate Commission questions. Okay, so this applies only for those preparing for their Texas real estate exam. Since I am in Texas, then I do that portion of the exam. Okay, number 1, 11.1. Which of the following is true regarding the Texas Real Estate Commission, which is known as what? TREC, T-R-E-C, abbreviation, acronym. A, commissioners serve staggered 3-year terms. B, 9 members are elected to 6-year terms. C, 3 members must present the public. Or D, 6 members are appointed by the governor with the approval of the Senate. So which of those answers is true of the Texas Real Estate Commission? And it has to be an exact answer. Only one answer is correct. You might think that others are correct, but only one answer is correct. So 11.1 is C. 3 members must represent the public. So there are a total of 9 members, right? However, 3 members must represent the public. So that was 11C. 3 members must represent the public as far as what is true regarding the Texas Real Estate Commission. Number 2, chapter or test 11, number 2. And these are all in the same book that I mentioned earlier, Texas Real Estate Sales Exam. But it includes national questions, I should say, and not but. So the TREC, which is Texas Real Estate Commission, is empowered to do what? A, enact laws to administer license law statutes. B, discipline violators of licensed laws. C, establish uniform standards of business practices, including market area delineations and commissions. Or D, impose incarceration sentences for flagrant violators or license law. So what is TREC empowered to do? Can they enact laws? Can they discipline violators? Can they establish uniform standards of business practices and market area delineations and commissions? Commissions meaning, real estate commission. Or impose incarceration sentences for flagrant violators of license law. The answer here is B, discipline violators of license law. So someone has to complain, turn them in to Texas Real Estate Commission. Then they have a committee that reviews that, interviews both persons, and then they'll hold a meeting either in Austin or wherever the person is locally acting as a realtor. So they have a choice to choose where they want to go through the interview. So 2, discipline violators of license laws. Number 3, Okay, the purpose of the Education Standards Advisory Committee, ESAC, is to do. So this is an Education Standards Advisory Committee. What is their purpose? A, establish and maintain education standards for fulfillment of the education related aspect of Texas license laws. B, hire and manage real estate examination consultants to deliver the state license examination. C, approve the delivery performance of real estate instructors on an ongoing basis. Or D, standardize education requirements for licensees and schools. So, what does the Education Standards Advisory Committee do? What is their purpose? The answer here is A. So, they establish and maintain education standards for fulfillment of the education related aspects of Texas license law. So just bear with me as I type this in the chat. All right. So number 4. In fulfilling its regulatory role, TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission, is empowered to do what? A, convict licensees of misdemeanors or felonies. B, dissolve offending business entities such as real estate management companies. C, amend license laws if deemed to be illegal or unfair. Or D, impose fines as well as suspend or revoke license. So what is their regulatory role? They being TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission. So the answer here is D, 11 for D, to impose fines as well as suspend or revoke licenses. So in order to avoid that, do everything in your power to do business ethically, truthfully, honestly, and follow all the laws. Number 5. Dang. If a licensee suspension is upheld following a hearing, the licensee may do what? A, may appeal to a district court where the hearing was held. B, may appeal to an appellate court where the violation occurred. C, may sue in district court for injunctive relief. Or D, may not appeal the TREC's decision, Texas Real Estate Commission decision. So if a licensee suspension is upheld following a hearing, the licensee has what options? The answer here is A, may appeal to a district court where the hearing was held. Make sure you don't get in trouble and get your license suspended. Practice with honesty, truthfulness, and be transparent and follow all the rules. Hmm. Number 6, which of the following is true regarding the Texas Real Estate Recovery Trust Fund? What kind of a fund? A recovery trust fund. And who is it for? A, licensees must prominently display Form 1-1 to consumers, advising them of the importance of caveat emptor, or let the buyer beware. That's what caveat emptor stands for. B, licensees fund the trust account through fines and judgments issued by TREP. C, the trust fund exists to assist licensees in financing the payments of judgments to consumers. Or D, licensees must disclose to consumers that there is a trust fund in Texas to satisfy judgments and reimbursement parties from the actions of licensees. So what is the answer for number 6? So the Texas Real Estate Recovery Trust Fund is for D, licensees must disclose to consumers that there is a trust fund in Texas to satisfy judgments and reimburse parties' damages from the actions of licensees. So the answer here, 11.6, D. That's a long one to type, so I'm not. All right, number 7. Sorry about that on the adjustment here. Let me make this a little bit narrower. Well, heck. Sorry, guys. I'm struggling with this one. Number 7, which of the following is true regarding one's license status? Which of the following is true regarding one's license status? A, sales agents who will be suspended must notify their broker in writing 3 days prior to the suspension. B, brokers who will be suspended must notify their sponsored agents of such an action within 7 days following the suspension. C, if a sales agent's license is suspended, the broker has 7 days to request a hearing. Or D, licensees with suspended licenses may continue paid advertisement, but must immediately cease all other brokerage practices. So what do you think that is when your license gets suspended? So which of the following is true regarding one's license status, our license status, whatever state you are in? But this, no, pardon me, we're doing Texas state questions. We were doing national questions earlier. So the answer here is A. Sales agents who will be suspended must notify their broker in writing 3 days prior to the suspension, because they will know from Texas Real Estate Commission that they will be suspended. Okay, pardon me, we're doing number 8. Which of the following is true regarding complaints? Complaints to whom? Texas Real Estate Commission. A, they must be filed within 4 years. B, they may not be conducted covertly without the knowledge of all parties. So in other words, it has to be transparent, open. C, they are adjudicated in the order they were received. Or D, they must be investigated regardless of their apparent merit or lack of it. So which of the following is true regarding complaints? When somebody complains to Texas Real Estate Commission, be it a client or another realtor? The answer here is A. There's a 4-year statute of limitation. Filed within 4 years. All right, so at this point, we're going to stop any state questions and start a new section on the next day. So I'm doing these now on Wednesday. I may add additional days, maybe Saturday morning or Tuesday or Thursday. So if you're interested, write a comment on which day would work for you that I could hold another one. I discontinued doing these live tutoring so that I could focus 100% on my real estate business in 2024, which I had a great year. However, I do miss this, and I'm back to helping you and myself learn the material even better, especially with changes that happened. Real estate is still real estate, but with certain lawsuits that happened with National Association of Realtors, there were some changes in contracts and forms and approaches, what we can advertise in the multiple listing service and what we cannot. And it predominantly deals with commission. Okay, if any questions, please type them in the chat. If not, make a comment on the video on YouTube or even on my Facebook group, AgentPrep. It's a private Facebook group, and there are resources on there that you can use for free that I've gathered from other students, realtors, other organizations. So if no further questions, I hope you enjoyed this and that it helps you prepare and pass your real estate exam. Please remember to study as much vocabulary as you can. Repeat the questions over and over and over. Don't just accept a 70 score when you're doing your prep questions. Keep repeating the test until you get a 100 score, because those at the actual exam are typically harder questions. Sometimes they're pretty simple. And you're going to be sometimes asked questions of material that you're like, oh my gosh, I never studied that. Oh my gosh, I don't know that. I was there. Take it from me. Okay. In Oregon, I took the test twice. In Texas, I only had to take the state exam, and I studied a lot every single day. So make it a routine, make it a practice to study every day. So until next time, this is Wow Lillie Handy with YouTube Agent Prep, here to help you prepare to pass your real estate exam, be it national exam or your Texas real estate license exam. I'm also doing videos about personal life and also to help you get your business going and tools. If you like this video, tap the thumbs up, click the bell so that you get alerted every time I go live or upload a video, and like my channel or subscribe to my channel. It really helps. In the description, there are books that I recommend. Should you purchase one, I will earn a commission from Amazon. Until next time, love you all. Catch you later. So the next class will be next Wednesday.